right, what's up? Good morning, PT on Ice Daily Show. Dr. Jeff Moore here, currently serving as the CEO of ICE, lead faculty for cervical and lumbar spine management courses. Coming at you from Birmingham, Alabama. Down here with the folks at Friends and Family Health, group of chiropractors here in Birmingham that brought in our lumbar spine management course. Huge thanks to Dr. John Palmer who brought us in and his whole crew, faculty crew and colleagues. What a great team. Zach Morgan was down here with me, spending the whole weekend with a bunch of chiropractors and physical therapists going over the management of back pain. So wonderful to be in this environment. I really appreciate the interdisciplinary vibe, everybody working collaboratively, sharing ideas, just trying to help folks feel better. So I had a wonderful time, knocked out gut check, knocked that out in a field. So we ran down the road a bit, found a field, knocked out our 25 air squats, 25 sit-ups, every minute on the minute, 5 burpees. Zach and Zach crushed it right around 6 minutes. I drug in around 7:22, had a really good session. I had a great time working out with the team. We had almost 100% attendance. I think we had about 90% of folks. In the 1 or 2 folks who couldn't make it had darn good reasons. So really had a blast this weekend. So we're here on Q&A Monday. I want to launch into the question of the week. Before I do, I want to remind you all that we have the out-of-network step-by-step course with Dr. Sarah Heron kicking off, I think Monday coming up, I think on the 14th. So if you're thinking about opening an out-of-network cash-based practice, if you have not heard the reviews from Sarah's course, they are phenomenal. So she walks you through the whole process of actually opening an out-of-network cash-based clinic. Aero Physical Therapy, of course, her experience there leveraging in that model and really delivering a really a streamlined process that really crosses all the T's and dots all the I's, covering all the different logistics, the legals, the marketing, definitely getting you ready to rock and roll with your own practice. So if that's on the horizon for you, jump into that class. Of course, it'll be the last one of the year. So make sure that you get signed up if that is of interest. Okay, let's jump in because I love the question. We got a lot of good ones that roll through. The one that I want to focus on is, what are my thoughts or what are our thoughts on opening your own practice right out of school if financials aren't an issue? So if for whatever reason you're in a position where financials aren't a major holding back factor, you're able to invest in that space, what are our thoughts on it? You never want to give like a yay or nay on something like this because the nuances are so present. And so what I do want to give is a few thoughts on both sides. So kind of T-chart style. What are some things to maybe consider from a con perspective and what about from a pros perspective? So from a cons perspective, my biggest concern in jumping out of the gates and running your own shop is that you don't have other models to evaluate, right? So this is good and bad as far as the models, meaning that you're not watching other practitioners go about their business and try to get outcomes in different ways, right? Maybe ways that you do understand and ways that you don't understand. So you're losing that ability to have comparative analysis. Like, for example, I think one of the greatest learning moments is when somebody's getting really good outcomes and you're surprised by that. Like the model they're using, maybe you don't perceive it as being evidence-based or they're going about things in a very different way, but over time, they're getting the job done. And I think it's really cool to challenge yourself in that way and look and be like, whether I like it or not, what they're doing is working across time and domain, so something is there. What is it? And then studying that, studying what they're doing that seems to be correlating to these very positive outcomes over time. Of course, the other side is also important. When someone's struggling to get outcomes and you're in a bigger clinic group, you can maybe evaluate what it might be about their approach that is leading to that challenge. Why are they having a hard time getting outcomes, right? They always say, right, a smart person learns from their own mistakes. A wise person learns from other people's mistakes. So if you can zoom in and have a look at someone who's really having a hard go at getting high quality outcomes, you might be able to isolate a few variables and avoid those things in your practice. So that ability to look across other dimensions and other folks trying to get the job done that you're trying to get done, but doing it in various ways, I think losing that is definitely taking a hit. So I would argue that as being one of the cons. A second con is you lose mobility. And I mean literal mobility, like your ability to move to do a fellowship. If you hear about a clinician you have a deep respect for that has a job opportunity or an internship open up with them, your ability to say, you know what, I'm out. I'm going to go for that. Like, I think there's so much there to learn. I'm going to put in my couple of weeks and I'm out of here because I really believe if I invest in that, it's going to give me a massive long-term payout. So your ability to make those switch gear decisions and bail is obviously challenged when you're trying to grow a practice in a given area that you've invested everything in. The third thing that I would bring up as maybe a challenge or a con would be that strength and size is definitely a thing. Like, if you're in a community and you want to run events and you want to have a real positive impact on that area, having numbers really helps with that. Like, your ability to run big community screens, your ability to go out and work on trail systems and improve that access of the people who live in your area to getting out in the mountains on their bike or on their feet. Like, your ability to make change is definitely hampered by limited size. So if you come out and open up your own thing, and you're a 1 or 2 person man or woman shop, I think that might take away one of your levers to be able to impact the area that you're trying to serve. So I would put those forward as things to at least consider or think about from the con side of it. From the pro side of it, I think the biggest one is that you can practice in the manner that you believe in. Right? So if you're really someone who believes that moving heavy loads is a really important aspect of rehab, you can get that squat rack. You can swing those kettlebells. Like, you can do those carries and get a trap bar. Like, you can invest in the areas that you really believe in. And make no mistake about it, patients are going to feed off of that authentic enthusiasm. Like, when you're doing exactly what you believe in, there's a very different feel to that clinical space and to that encounter. Very similar to that is that when you learn new things, your ability to rapidly incorporate them into your practice is unhindered when you're driving. And I mean, you can imagine, we do these courses every weekend. I can't tell you how many folks we bump into that say, well, Jeff, that's great. I mean, I'm fired up. I love what you're saying. The problem is the practice that I'm in doesn't want me treating that way. So we're sort of, in some cases, sending people back all jacked up and jazzed about things they want to incorporate into their practice that are then abruptly stopped from doing so because the model they're going back to doesn't allow for it. So that's a real buzzkill. Like, when you come back with really flying high with some new ideas and techniques for your patients and you can't implement, like, that takes a lot of wind out of your sails. And I think in a lot of ways that kind of leads to a sequential buildup of burnout, because it is those bumps in enthusiasm and direct incorporation into the clinic that really allows you to capitalize on your investments that builds your excitement and enthusiasm that carries you through this profession. So I think those two things in that autonomy is definitely something to consider on the pro side. This one might be a little more personal, but to give you a third one on there and to be transparent, I love to eat what I kill. Like, I love the idea of, going out there, doing the work, but then benefiting from the work that I do. Like, I'm not a huge fan of eating off somebody else's table. And so no matter where I am, what environment I'm in, I really want to go out there and reap what I sow. Like, the work that I do in the business that I create from it, right? If I work harder and create more, I get more. Like, I really like that direct relationship. And so, like, because of that philosophy, I guess for me personally, I mean, I'm going to try to build my own practice inside of any practice that I'm in because of those feelings. And so if I'm going to do that, right, there's certainly some logic to saying, well, then why not just do it? Like, why not just do it so that there's absolutely nothing in between your ability to purely capitalize on the work that you put in? There's no layers of bureaucracy. There's nothing else that can get in the way of that direct relationship that I find very refreshing and energizing. So I think if that's sort of your personality profile, there's probably some benefit in getting rid of any other modulating factors and being able to have a very direct relationship between what you put in and what you get out. So I would argue those are 3 really important things to consider on the pro side. There is no one-size-fits-all answer to this, but depending on where you shake out, I hope when you hear that 1 or 2 of those means a lot to you and you resonate and think on that and allow that to drive your decision-making process. I certainly think that opening a practice right out of school is not for everyone, but it could be for anyone, right? In the right person at the right time, there's probably a lot to be gained there. Make sure you're considering what some of those downfalls might be. I hope there's value. Thanks for the questions. We're loving Q&A Monday. So fun to hear from you all and kind of look at what you're hoping to get from us and take from our experience. So keep the questions coming in all week, and every week we'll grab one and see if we can't deliver a bit of value. Anyways, ptoниce.com. Hop over there, jump into Sarah's course. Starts up on Monday. As for me, where am I going? I will be in Fort Wayne, Indiana this weekend, actually doing an evidence in motion, effortless manipulation course, and then we'll jump over to Rising Tide. So we'll be out in the White Mountains in New Hampshire. We'll knock that out the following weekend, and we'll just keep on rolling one weekend after another. Hope everybody's having an awesome day. Get out there, make it happen. Hit me up with any comments from this. Always happy to unpack things a bit more. Cheers, everybody.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to the PT on Ice Daily Show. If you enjoyed this content, head on over to iTunes and leave us a review. And be sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram at the Institute of Clinical Excellence. If you're interested in getting plugged into more ICE content on a weekly basis while earning CEUs from home, check out our virtual ICE online mentorship program at ptonice.com. While you're there, sign up for our Hump Day Hustling newsletter for a free email every Wednesday morning with our top 5 research articles and social media posts that we think are worth reading. Head over to ptonice.com and scroll to the bottom of the page to sign up.